This channel features longer classes and challenging poses, and today's class is a slow Vinyasa flow that focuses on asanas that will really strengthen and tone your lower body. Welcome to Yoga Dose. My name's Cece. Begin today by connecting to your breath, breathing deep inhales through the nose, deep exhales out the nose. And on your next inhale, slowly come into a tabletop position, stacking your wrists underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Begin to warm up the spine with a few cat-cow movements. Every inhale here, drop the spine, lift the chin, draw the navel in. And on your exhale, round the spine, draw the navel in more, and drop the chin towards the chest. Move here at your own pace, slowly warming up the spine. Breathing deep into each posture. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, round through the spine. Come back to a tabletop neutral position. Extend your right leg behind you, pressing through the heel, and then extend your left arm forward, keeping a neutral spine and level hips. Now drawing your right knee into your chest, round your spine, draw on your navel, and bring the left arm in to meet. Extend them back out, pressing through the heel, and then draw them back in, rounding through the spine, tucking the chin. Extend them back out, reaching through the hand. Draw them back into center, and extend back straight out. Draw the knee in towards the chin. And extend back out, pressing through the heel of the right foot. And one more time, bringing the knee in and extending back out straight. Now take the right leg and extend it out to the right side, and take the left arm and extend it out to the left, holding up through the right hip. Feel the muscles of the right hip engaged. Now bring them back to center and release back to your mat. Now lifting the left leg up, press through the heel. Lift the right arm up to match it, trying to keep level hips here and a neutral spine. Drawing the navel in, pressing down through the top of the right foot. And now draw the left knee into the chest with the left arm. Extend back out. Exhale, draw the knee and the arm into the chest. Inhale, extend out. Exhale, draw it in, draw the navel in. And inhale, extend back out. Exhale, draw them in, draw the chin toward the chest. And inhale, extend the arm and leg out. Moving here at your own pace. And from here, take the right arm out to the right and the left leg out to the left side. Holding up here, feeling the muscles of the left hip engage. Drawing your navel in, try to keep your hips as level as you can. Bring them back to center and release back into a tabletop position. Extend the right leg back, and now just lift it up from the ground, engaging the glute muscles. Lifting here, up and down, really working that glute muscle. Move at your own pace, dropping the toes to the ground, lifting up through the heel, lower down, lift through the heel, lowering down, lifting up, trying to maintain level hips. Now release that leg and take it over to the left side. Trying to keep the hips level, you're lifting the left leg up, engaging the glute, lower it back down, lifting up, lowering down, trying to keep level hips here, your gaze in between your hands. Moving at your own pace. Make sure you're engaging the glute muscles on the left side, pressing down through the top of the right foot. Now release the left leg and take the right leg up from the side of the hip and extend it out, kicking to the side. Moving at your own pace, take several repetitions of this, lifting the right leg up, kicking out, lowering back down. Lift up, kick the leg out, lower down. You should really feel the right glute working here. Lifting up, kick the leg out, lower down. Moving to the other side, lift the left knee up, extend the foot out, lower it back down. Again, moving at your own pace, really feeling the muscles on the left side working, lowering down, lifting up, extending the foot, and lowering back down. Keep going here. Release the leg. Now lift the right leg up and taking those leg lifts again, moving a little quicker now, lifting straight up, lowering the foot back to the ground. Your right glute should really be feeling this right now, so just go at your own pace. You can go slower or faster than I am, whatever works for you. Switch to the other side, lifting and lowering the left leg, lifting it, lowering, and when you lift it, squeeze the glute muscle at the top every time. Drawing the navel in, keeping your hips level. Breathing deep here. Release the left leg. Now open up into Parigasana, gate pose with your left arm down, your right arm up and overhead, and your right leg is extended straight, stretching through the side body. Release back down into a tabletop position and take it on the other side, this time with the right arm planted, your right knee bent and your left leg extended straight. You can take your left arm up and overhead, getting a nice stretch through the left side body. Release this posture. Coming back into table, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and draw the hips up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Feel free here to pedal the heels. Move any way you'd like to warm up in your first downward facing dog. Maybe bending one knee, straightening the other. Gaze up towards the top of the mat and step all the way up. Inhale and create length in the spine. Exhale and fold deep, maybe keeping a bend in the knees. Inhale and reach the arms up and overhead, and exhale, bring your hands down to the side. Inhale, you lift your arms up. Exhale, fold all the way forward, planting the hands, maybe keeping a bend in the knees if your hamstrings are tight. Inhale, lift halfway up, plant the hands, and then step your right foot back into a low lunge position, maybe shifting back and forth, and then lowering onto your right knee, placing your hands on top of your knee, and breathing here in this hip stretch. Make sure you're engaging your right glute muscles to release the hip flexor muscles on the right side. Drawing the navel in to protect the lower spine. Now lower the hands back to the mat. Step the left foot back to meet the right, and maybe lower down into Chaturanga. Lift up into upward facing dog, and then press back into downward facing dog. Step the right foot in between the hands, this time lowering down onto the left knee, coming into low lunge on the other side. You can take your hands on top of your knee here. This time, maybe engage the glute muscles on the left side to release the muscles in the front. Plant your hands down on the ground, tuck the left toes, and step them up to meet the right. Inhale and create length, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead, and exhale into Samastiti. Again, inhale your arms up and overhead. Exhale, drawing the navel in, fold forward. Inhale, create length through the spine. And exhale, plant the hands, stepping the left foot back, lowering onto that knee, coming into low lunge position. Breathe deep into your left hip flexor here. Notice if one side's maybe tighter than the other. Now bring your hands back to the mat, step back into a chaturanga position. Inhale into upward facing dog, and exhale, lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. From here, step the left foot forward in between the hands, lower onto the right knee for low lunge. You can bring your hands back onto your left knee. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper here. Pressing down through the top of that right foot. Making sure your left knee is right over your left ankle. Bring your hands down to the mat, tuck the right toes and step them up to meet the left. Inhale, create length, and exhale, fold deep. Inhale and raise your arms up and overhead. And exhale, Samasthiti. From here, inhale into a chair pose, bending the knees, drawing the navel in, tucking the pelvis slightly, bringing more weight into the heels. Maybe take your gaze towards your thumbs. Holding deep in this chair posture. Couple more breaths here. Now fold forward. Inhale, create length. And exhale, plant the hands, jump or step back into chaturanga. Inhale, lift up into Urdhva Mukha. And exhale, press back into Adho Mukha. From here, lift your right leg up into a three-legged dog. And bring it through in between your hands, coming into Crescent Anjaneyasana, making sure your right knee is right over your right ankle. Your navel is drawing in. Maybe draw your right hip back, your left hip forward to square off the hips. And if it feels okay on your neck, gaze in between your thumbs. Try to make sure your right leg is parallel to the mat. Getting a deep hold here. You should really feel those leg muscles working. Now lower the hands to the mat, keeping your right leg up. Move through chaturanga. Lift into Urdhva Mukha and press back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Lift the left leg up into a three-legged dog. Maybe bend the knee, open the hip. Bring it in towards your chest, step it in between the hands, and lift up into Anjaneyasana, crescent pose on the other side. Draw the right hip forward to match the left. Left knee right over the left ankle. And you're pressing out actively through the heel of the back right leg, keeping that leg engaged as much as possible. Maybe sink a little deeper. Release your hands down to the mat, stepping back into chaturanga with the left leg lifted. Lift into upward facing dog and press back into downward facing dog. Coming back to your steady breathing here. Bend the knees, gaze forward, hop or step up, inhale, create length, and exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale into chair pose, Utkatasana, bending the knees. Sink a little deeper, and exhale, Samasthiti, straighten the legs. Inhale back into chair pose, arms overhead. Weight in the heels, navel drawing in. Holding here. A couple more breaths in this chair pose. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, plant the hands, jump or step back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up, bring it in between the hands, coming up into crescent pose again. And this time, in crescent pose, you're going to lower your left knee down to the ground, coming up and straighten through the right leg. Lowering back down, tap the ground, come up, straighten the front leg, tap the back knee, straighten the right leg, lowering down, straightening the front leg, taking these low lunge positions. Lowering down, straightening through the front leg, lowering the back knee down. You can move at your own pace. Now windmill the hands down to the mat, keeping the right leg lifted. Move through chaturanga, lift into upward facing dog and press back into downward facing dog. Now lifting the left leg up, bring it in between the chest, coming up into crescent. We're going to take those same knee drops, this time dropping the right knee to the ground, lifting up and then straightening the left leg. Just be conscious with your knees. If this hurts, you don't have to dip down, just hold in crescent pose. But lower down, straighten the front leg. Try to tap your right knee to the ground if you can. If not, it's no big deal. Breathing deep as you lower the right knee down. Straighten the left leg, lowering down, straightening the left leg. Still actively pressing through the heel of the right leg. Now lower the hands down to the mat, keeping the left leg up, move through your vinyasa. Maybe just go straight into downward facing dog. You can always skip vinyasas if you want to. Draw the navel in strongly in downward facing dog. Your gaze in between your knees. Now lift the right leg up, step it in between your hands, coming into crescent pose, arms overhead. Now lower the left knee, doing some more of those drops. Lowering the left knee, lifting up, straightening the right leg. Lower down, lift, lowering down, straightening the right leg as you lift. Lowering down, lifting. You should really feel your leg muscles working now. Being careful with your knees. Keep moving in the same way. Now release the hands down to the mat, keeping the right leg up. Move through chaturanga, lifting into upward facing and pressing back into downward facing dog. Taking that again on the left side, lift the left leg up, draw it in between your hands. Come up into crescent, and this time drop the right knee, lift and straighten the left leg. Moving here just like this, at your own pace, being careful of your knee. Dropping the right knee down, lifting up, straightening through the left leg. Actively pressing out through the back of the right heel, trying to keep your spine upright over your hips. A few more. Now lower your hands down to the mat, keeping the left leg lifted. Move through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Press back, downward facing dog. Nice work. Those are challenging. Now bend the knees. Come up to your hands. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, back into chair pose, squeezing the knees together. Deep bend in the knees, sink a little bit deeper. I know your legs are tired. Now exhale, Samasthiti, standing. Inhale, back into chair pose. If your arms are tired overhead, you can always cactus them out or bring them to your heart. Focusing on the legs here, sink a little bit deeper into your chair pose. Now lower the hands into Ardha Utkatasana, your stomach right over your thighs, and maybe lift the heels off the ground, coming onto your toes. From here, you can bring your arms behind you for drinking bird. Your gaze down to the top of your mat, holding up on your toes, balancing here. Now lower the hands down to the mat. Maybe bring your knees up to your armpits and lift up into Bakasana, crow pose. Rounding through the upper back, drawing the navel in strongly, lift the heels towards the glutes. Maybe straighten the arms and shoot back through Chaturanga. Lift into upward facing dog and press back into downward facing dog. Breathing deep here, catch your breath. Steady breathing. Pressing down firmly through your hands, fingers spread wide. Lift the right leg up, three-legged dog. Bring it in between your hands. This time lifting up into a crescent pose again. Draw your hands into your heart, tap the knee down, and then shift the weight into the front right foot. Lift into Warrior 3 with your hands at your heart. Lower the left leg down, tap the knee, lift back up, and then lift into Warrior 3. So moving in this little circuit, you're going to lower the left leg down, tap the knee, come up into crescent, shift the weight into the right foot, lifting into Warrior 3, trying to keep the hips as level as you can. Lower the left foot, tap the knee, lift off Warrior 3, lower the left leg down, tap the knee, weight in the front foot, lifting back Warrior 3. Breathing here, keep your hips level, press through the left heel, lower back down into crescent, and lower your hands down to the mat, keeping your right leg lifted, move through your Vinyasa. Exhale into downward facing dog. Taking that on the left side now, you're going to lift the left leg up, bring it in between the hands for crescent pose. Making sure your hips are squared off to the front of the mat. Left knee right over the ankle, tap your right knee, bring your hands into your heart, shift the weight into the left foot, and lift up into Warrior 3. Lower the right foot down, tap the knee, lift into crescent, shift the weight into the left foot, moving into Warrior 3. Drop your right hip, try to have level hips. Lower down, tap the knee, lift back up, Warrior 3. Lower the right leg down, tap the knee gently, shift the weight into the left foot, move into Warrior 3. Keeping the hands at the heart, or if you want to work your arms more, you can lift them overhead. Moving again, moving into Warrior 3. Holding here. Now slowly lower back into crescent. Bring your hands down to the mat. Keeping the left leg raised, move through a Vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing, and exhale, downward facing dog. Press the backs of your legs towards the wall behind you strongly. Now bend the knees, turn your gaze forward, hop or step up. Inhale, create length, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose, bent knees, Utkatasana. Holding here, and exhale, Samasthiti. Bend the knees. Inhale, arms overhead, Utkatasana chair pose. Draw your front ribs towards your front hip bones. Sink a little bit lower from the hips. Moving into Ardha Utkatasana or drinking bird again, you can lift the heels off the ground, stomach right over the thighs. Sink the hips a little bit lower. Holding a couple more breaths. Straighten the legs, plant the hands shoulder distance apart, and maybe move into Bakasana again. Knees up towards the armpits. Gaze in between your hands. Pressing so strongly and shoot back into Chaturanga. Make your way back to a downward facing dog. From here, lift the right leg up. Draw it in between your hands. Lift up into a crescent position. Right knee right over the ankle. Your knee pointing directly over the middle toe. And just hold here in crescent pose. Keeping your back leg active. Maybe sink a little bit deeper if you can. Bring your hands into your heart. Put more weight into the right foot and shift into Warrior 3, lifting the left leg off the ground, pressing through that back heel. You can take your arms back alongside you, behind you. Your gaze is at the top of your mat. Trying to keep level hips, drawing the navel in strongly. Reaching through the crown of the head. Now lift the left leg up, extend it straight out in front of you. And then swing it back, planting the hands down, coming into standing splits. You can wrap your right arm around the right calf. Maybe draw your nose to your knee and lift the left leg even higher, trying to keep level hips if possible. Slowly release the standing splits. Lower into Chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing and exhale into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift the left leg up, three-legged dog. Bring it in between the hands for crescent. Draw the right hip forward, the left hip back to even off the hips. Put a little bit more weight into the left heel. Maybe take your gaze up towards your thumbs. A couple more breaths here in crescent. From here, bring your hands into your heart, put more weight into the left foot, and shift forward into Warrior 3 with the right leg extended behind you. Maybe take your arms back alongside your body. Press out actively through your right heel as though your foot was pressed against a wall, and at the same time reach through the crown of your head, feeling the opposition through your body. Now bring the right leg up, extend it out in front of you, keeping the foot flexed, leg active. Lift it a little higher, and then swing it all the way back behind you, planting the hands, coming into standing splits on the left side. Maybe take your left hand, bring it around the left calf, and try to draw your nose to your shin, lifting the right leg a little bit higher. Slowly lower down, move through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into upward facing, and exhale, lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Bend your knees, turn your gaze forward, hop or step up, inhale. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink a little deeper. And exhale, Samasthiti, standing pose. Inhale, bend the knees back into chair pose again. Make sure your knees don't go forward too far past your toes. Moving into Ardha Utkatasana or drinking bird again. Maybe lift the heels up, coming onto your toes. Really working those calf muscles by lifting onto the toes and the balls of the feet. Stomach hovering right over the thighs. Now release and straighten the legs. Plant the hands. Take this opportunity to move into Bakasana again. Lifting here. Try to straighten the arms as much as possible, lifting the heels towards the glutes. And shoot yourself back into Chaturanga. And make your way back into Downward Facing Dog. Lift your right leg up. Now step it in between the hands, lifting up into a crescent position. Your legs might be feeling pretty tired now. Bring your hands into your heart and twist open to the right side. Maybe extend your arms out into an open side twist. Every inhale, create length, and every exhale, twist a little bit deeper through your thoracic spine. Now lower your left hand to the inside of the right foot and lift your right hand up. Maybe turn your gaze up to meet it, taking an easy twist here, keeping the legs active and engaged. A deep bend in the front right knee. From here, release the top right hand. Maybe grab the big toes of the right leg and lift yourself into a side plank, Vashisthasana. You can keep the right leg lifted to work the glute more, work the legs. If you have the flexibility, you can hold the toe with the top right hand the whole time. Lower the right leg, staying in side plank. Lift your left hip a little higher. Now lower the right hand back to the mat. Lift the right leg up in plank pose, holding here. Your right foot's lifted about a foot off the ground. Holding it up, engage your core muscles strongly. Now shift forward, keeping that right leg up. Move through Chaturanga. Inhale into Upward Facing Dog and press back into Downward Facing Dog. Lift the left leg up. Bring it through in between the hands. Lift up into a crescent position. Hips level towards the front of the mat. Check to make sure your left knee is right over the ankle, keeping good alignment. Bring your hands into your heart and twist open to the left side of your mat now. Maybe extend the arms out. Draw the navel in to protect the lower back in your twist. Now from here, lower the right hand to the inside of the left foot and lift the left hand overhead. Maybe turn your gaze up towards the left hand if your neck feels okay. Actively press through the right heel. Now bring your left hand and grab the left big toes. Maybe lift all the way up into side plank like that, or release the toes and keep the left leg lifted. Vashisthasana on the other side. Lifting the right hips up. Lower the left leg down now. Still holding in side plank. few more breaths. Now lower the left hand to meet the right into plank and lift the left leg up in this plank position. Trying to keep level hips even though your left leg is off the ground. And now move into chaturanga with your left leg lifted. Lift into upward facing dog and press back into downward facing dog. From here, bend the knees, turn your gaze forward, hop or step up to the top of your mat. Inhale, create length. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Now, taking your feet about as wide as your mat, lower the hips down into Malasana pose, garland pose. This is a deep squat here. And then you're going to straighten the legs and stand all the way up. And then lower back into Malasana, squatting down. So we're going to take a few repetitions of these squats. Inhale, up, exhale, lower down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower the hips. If your knees hurt, don't go all the way down in Malasana. Just go down into a normal squat position. Moving here a few more times. Trying to keep your hips back so that your knees don't go over your toes. Lower down. Lift back up. Lower down. As you lift up, press through the heels strongly. Lift up. Now exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale into Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink a little lower. Knees squeezing together. Holding here in chair pose. My legs were definitely tired at this point. Sink a little bit lower slowly as you can. Lower your hips all the way down to your mat, lifting the legs up into Navasana boat pose. Lifting through the sternum. Create length through the spine. Maybe keep a bend in your knees if that helps you have more length. You're sitting on that sweet spot where you can balance in between your tailbone and your sit bones. Now slowly from here, lower from boat into Ardha Navasana, coming onto your lower back. Slowly lowering down, still engaging those abdominal muscles. Press through the balls of the feet. Drawing your navel towards your spine. Now bend the knees. Lower all the way down. Nice work there. Bringing your heels underneath your knees. Lift up into a bridge pose. And if you want to, you can lift the heels off the ground in this bridge pose. Feel the different sensations when you lift the heels, keeping your chin away from your chest. Make sure your glute muscles are very active here, pressing them up strongly. Maybe press your hands down into the mat or interlace them behind you. Now, keeping your hips up, lift the right leg all the way up and lower the heel on the left foot if it was raised. Trying to keep your hips level with the right leg lifted. You'll feel a little uneven. Now lower the right leg down, lift the left leg straight up. Try as hard as you can to keep level hips. Stamp down so strongly through the right heel. A few more breaths here. Lower the left leg down to meet the right, lifting back into bridge. If you want to, lift back onto the balls of the feet, lifting the heels, engaging the calf muscles. breathing deep. Now slowly lower your hips down to the mat. This time lift your arms overhead, lift into bridge, and then lower your hips, lift into a crunch position. Lower back down, lift the hips, arms up by your ears. Lower the hips, bring the arms back in front of you, lift into a crunch position. Lower down, arms up by the ears, lift the hips strongly. Lower the hips, bring the arms back in front of you, lift the chest, lift the head, crunching up. Lower down, arms by your ears, lift the hips, stamp through the heels. Lower the hips down, arms in front of you, lifting up. Lower down, arms by the ears, hips up into bridge. Lower the hips. Now hug the knees into the chest. Maybe rock a little side to side. Release any tension in your lower back. Cross the left ankle over the right knee, taking a figure 4 stretch on your back, stretching out those hips that we just worked really hard. Trying to release any tension that may have built up there. I like to keep my feet flexed to neutralize the knee joints, keep them protected. Now switch so that the right leg is crossed on top of the left knee. Maybe holding on to the left knee, drawing it a little bit closer. Doing whatever feels good, going only as deep as you need to in this moment. Release your legs now and make your way into a Shavasana. Take your feet about as wide as the mat. Lay your hands by your side, palms up. Release any tension in your face, in your jaw, and your shoulders, and just feel yourself sink into the mat, enjoying your rest. Bring your breath back to your body. Bring some small movements back. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. Circling out your wrists or your ankles. You can take your arms up overhead, stretch through your whole body. Maybe bring your knees into your chest, rock a little bit side to side. Do whatever feels good to bring yourself out of this Shavasana and make your way to a seated position. Maybe roll your shoulders up and back. Bring your hands into your heart. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice with me, taking the time for yourself. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.
For another great workout, make sure you try my total body yoga workout Vinyasa flow. It's one of my favorite flows and has lots of headstands.